When you first dive into Windows 8, the first thing that pops into your mind will be along the lines of, what in the heck is this? Windows 8 is Microsoft's latest operating system that they are offering to the world. It tries to merge the gap between the desktop computer and the tablet computer by offering you a tablet user interface and a desktop user interface all in the same operating system. Though if they succeeded is still up in the air at this time. Windows 8 is different from the very start. At the new start screen, what was once just a menu that you would bring up to locate some of your programs is now your entire computer. You are presented with an array of tiles much like that of Windows Phone 8. The start screen is not just a start screen. No, it is where almost all of your Windows 8 computing experience takes place. You are looking at more than just a start screen. You are looking at what Microsoft is now calling the modern UI, and those icons you see are not icons. They're now called tiles. Starting out with Windows 8 can be quite intimidating, and this is where my first biggest gripe on Windows 8 comes in. How the heck do you use it? With Windows 8 being a massive user interface overhaul from Windows XP, Vista, or 7, which is what most people are used to, it can be quite intimidating to first jump in. When I first installed and booted into Windows 8, I was ready to learn about all of its new features and was preparing myself for a nice walkthrough. I did get my walkthrough, though it was not nearly what I was expecting or even wanted. While Windows 8 was first setting everything up, you were told literally one thing. You were told to bring your mouse cursor to the top right of the screen to bring up the new Charms bar. Okay, cool. What's the next thing I need to know? Well, according to Microsoft, that would be nothing. That can't be right. Well, it is right. It seems Microsoft thinks you do not even need to know what that start screen is or how to use it. They throw you directly into battle and leave you to fend for yourself. A little more information on the uses of Windows 8 would have been helpful, Microsoft. I just feel the average user will have a hard time switching directly off the bat. Because Microsoft has left you to fend for yourself, I will go ahead and walk through some programs and features while presenting my thoughts on some of them along the way. First up is corners. Microsoft has some things hidden inside Windows 8. How you find all of these is by bringing your mouse to one of the corners. If you bring your mouse to the top left corner of the screen, you can bring up the previous app or the app switching bar. This is a great way to bring up the app switching bar. The right side is the charm bar. This is where you have settings and searching. All of these things is actually contextual. So when you are in an app and you bring up the settings from the charms bar, that is settings for that app. And when you search, you're searching for that app only. That is very welcomed. It's something that more operating systems need to have. Next up are some basic apps and programs. The first thing I want to mention is Maps. This is Bing Maps and it looks absolutely beautiful. Even though it's Bing Maps and not Google Maps, Bing Maps is certainly improving rapidly. Next is Mail. I would not get this confused with Outlook because it is not Outlook. It is a good email client though. It does seem more like a tablet email application at this time though. Weather. This is exactly how it should be, and like almost all other modern UI applications, it looks absolutely beautiful. Next is People. This allows you to connect your different social networking accounts, from Twitter, Facebook, and even more. Allows you to get some Facebook updates and Twitter feed updates in one place. Though like I stated earlier that Windows 8 tries to combine the experience of a tablet and desktop in one operating system, This also means that you have full access to the desktop just like you would in prior versions of Windows. Though there's one noticeable difference. The Start menu is missing from the bottom left. That's correct. Taking its place is an empty space that when you mouse over the bottom left, you get an icon that takes you back to the Start screen. The desktop is still very much like Windows 7, though they have also made some changes and some welcome improvements. This is where Windows 8 starts to get a bit weird though. Microsoft has tried very hard to get you to use the new modern UI to bring the tablet experience to a desktop, though they also left the classic desktop to bring the desktop experience to the tablet. The whole thing is very weird and I confused myself there. It makes me feel like Windows 8 has multi-personalities. The whole thing feels like they tried to force the modern UI on you, even though it is geared towards a tablet. Then next thing you know, you're forced into using the desktop. It's all very unnatural feeling, and even more knowing that it seems like what happens on the desktop is totally separate than what happens on the modern UI. The experiences aren't the same. An example of this is with web browsers, like Internet Explorer and Google Chrome. Both of these browsers have modern UI versions, along with their desktop counterpart. This is great, except for the fact they're totally different. They might as well be totally different programs. And a matter of fact, they actually are totally different programs. Whatever you look at on the modern UI is not synced to the desktop version. If you are using Google Chrome on the modern UI, though need to look at something on the desktop, you can't simply just open up Google Chrome on the desktop to continue where you left off. You must return to using the modern UI. This is not the only place. Windows 8 for some reason has two separate settings and control panels. On the modern UI, you have pretty much the settings that you would see on a mobile device, while on the desktop also has the classic control panel that we are all used to from prior versions of Windows. So has Microsoft made a hit operating system and changed the desktop experience for the better? That will be seen in the future, though I feel as a desktop operating system, it is not there. It is just geared entirely too much towards a touchscreen device that just using a keyboard and mouse feels very unnatural in the modern UI. Windows 8 just feels like two separate computing experiences sandwiched into one. While Windows 8 figures out what personality it wants to use at the time, it leaves you left hanging, trying to figure out what mode you need to put your brain in. As a first venture into Windows 8, I am very impressed with the modern UI, as it's very beautiful, and I welcome the changes to desktop. Though putting the two together in one computing experience